A very common question in digital painting is, what are the best brushes to use with my program? Most modern paint programs have hundreds, if not literally thousands of different brushes that you can download. As an example, Krita 4 has just released their bundle, and it has 117 brushes. And that's just part of the bundle that comes with Krita. You can find those by going to Krita documentation at the reference manual and the preset bundle. And the reason that that's valuable is you can see this almost kind of as a theoretical discussion about brushes. It's organized very well, and as you can see, this section on erasers, it shows you an icon, what the stroke is going to look like, gives it the name, and kind of shows how it might be used. So for example, here's the section on basic brushes. But it also has a section on pencil, inking, and many other types, including textures, shapes, and stamps. But the truth is you only need a few basic brushes to get started. And if you look at tutorials on the net, you'll find that many artists typically stay with about 3 to 5 brushes that they use all the time, and then just use the other brushes for occasional use. Medibang's Paint Pro is a good example of where you want to be started with the basic brushes, because in their out-of-the-box setup they only have a handful of brushes, but they're well-chosen brushes. And again, that includes brushes, pens, pencils, and all kinds of drawing tools. So of course the first one that you want is a pencil. And in that case, the main focus is on sketching. So it should just feel good to use it. But the main qualities of this particular brush is that the width doesn't change with pen pressure, but the opacity does. So that's a key point about pencils. Now, most paint programs have a grainy texture to their pencils. Medibang Paint Pro doesn't with their basic pencil. The next type of tool you want is the pen. And the big difference here is that with pen pressure, the thickness changes. However, the opacity stays the same. So this is really good for actual inking of line art, but it's also good for filling in areas quickly and easily. Now, if you'll notice here, there's some jitter or jag that's happening here. When you're drawing digitally, sometimes you'll get that jittery kind of appearance. So most good programs have a correction tool like we see here. And so all you need to do with that tool is to set that value to a higher value, and as you draw there's going to be less jitter. And you should of course have smooth movement as you paint. The next kind of tool that you want is a tool that has some grainy appearance to it, and in Medibang that's really the stipple pen. It has some grainy appearance to it. But for many programs, that might be the pencil itself. And finally, the other pen that you'll want is one that allows you to blend colors well. For example, in Medibang Paint, that would be the airbrush. So here I've selected the pants on the character, and I've made let's make the color a little bit darker. And so I'm just going to use this airbrush to create some shading, and we can blend in very nicely. So that's what you need for some kind of tool to do some shading or blending here. So that's really the only brushes that you really need to get started in digital painting.